All right, Mech Warriors. Mech Command's got some updates for us here in this vlog tactical. We're going to be exploring the idea danger close in Battletech. And as your Mech Commander, as your Mech Instructor, I define danger close as that point in the game. And right now, we're just going to keep it simplified. We're going to look at one mech versus one mech. Let's look at a Battlemaster and a Warhammer. These two machines start at a distance. They close. They're in PPC range. They move to laser range. Danger close is when you are 3 to 4 hexes away. You've locked target to target. And now, especially with heavy and assault mechs, you have the majority of your weapon systems in play. The medium lasers, even the smaller weapons, the smaller lasers, the machine guns, 3 hexes away or so, they're just in range. They've got that distance. You are firing everything, and we are going back and forth. Once we are at this place on the table, it is challenging to disengage because I'm facing off against you. You're facing off against me. We've got our forward armor facing, and we're blasting away. Based on the rules, it's going to be hard for me to backpedal. You are, in most cases, unless I have a extremely fast heavy mech and an extremely slow assault mech, I'm going to be able to move forward faster than you can move behind. If you completely turn and run away, you're going to give me rear armor. If you try to move off to scoot off to the side, depending on the mechs, I might be able to get side or even rear armor. We have locked and we have engaged 1-to-1. And the challenge here is when you have engaged, it's one thing to engage where you're fully armored up for the most part. You take a couple of hits on the way in, but you're fully armored up. When there's a breakthrough to internals, maybe I take a couple of hits, I'm weakened in one area, you hit me some more, and now I feel like I have to disengage. How do I do this? What do we do? And this can even be challenging against mechs that are outclassed. This is why you have to make sure that you're not outclassed. If I have that Warhammer and you're moving forward with a medium mech and we somehow engage danger close, how long are you really going to last against that Warhammer? Not that long. We don't want to go toe-to-toe. But if you disengage, I'm still going to be able to follow up and catch you. So it's this dilemma of, do I slowly damage you, attrition, or do you pull away, maybe escape, but you're really giving me a lot of opportunities to permanently put you down. And of course, there's flow of the dice and other metrics in there. So with danger close, I want to try and get you and engage at that 3 hex or so distance where you are at a disadvantage. And I want to punish you for that. Danger close is also important if I'm working with another mech in tandem. Now, a lance works together as a lance. And even if that lance is a little bit spread out, or maybe something happened, or you're playing with 3 mechs, let's just call a lance a grouping of mechs. The other challenge is I'm not working alone. One of the reasons why one of my favorite mechs is the Hunchback with that autocannon 20, good speed, lower battle value buy-in. I have that work with, say, a Warhammer or a Battlemaster or an aggressive Lance Leader. That Lance Leader locks you in danger close. That Hunchback is now going to try and make it around to the sides or the back, and it's going to give you a dilemma engaging one-on-one. Do you deal with the Hunchback, but then I savage you with my lasers and other aspects, if it's a heavy mech like a Warhammer or a Battlemaster, or do you let that Hunchback go? And you want to be eating that autocannon 20. And it doesn't have to be a Hunchback. It doesn't have to be something as ultra-threatening as that. It could be a Jenner. It could be a light mech with, say, 2 medium lasers, just sniping away at rear armor, especially if it's a lower tier heavy mech that I'm able to get rear armor on, or even a medium mech. So this idea of engaging. Now, generally speaking, danger close doesn't apply as much, if at all, to light mechs and certain lower echelon medium mechs, because you have speed and you have jump jets. And even with the speed, so for some reason, we're skirmishing, we're in no man's land, and your fast-moving bug mech and my fast-moving bug mech, we go head-to-head. I could zip past you and throw up enough distance with the modifiers, if I run in a straight line, that even giving you rear armor, not that I want to do that, but if I have to break out, then I could break out moving forward from that perspective, throw up enough movement modifiers and escape. Or I have the jump jets where I can run turn, jump over something. It's harder to pin down a light mech. And of course, the trade-off with that, of course, is weapons and armor. You don't have that robustness at, say, a heavy or an assault mech. So how do we use this tactically? And how do we look to position ourselves to minimize that danger close or give us options? Tactically, the first thing, as we reviewed, what mech is working as a bodyguard with that other mech? When I build a lance of 4 mechs, I like to have 2 mechs that are going to be primarily attacking and try to lock you into danger close, and then 2 mechs that are going to hopefully try to put some pressure and outflank. But it could be mechs with other fast-moving hovers. Hover units, if you're going to do combined arms, are a great way. They are a fantastic way to get some SRMs in, or even something like the Saladin, autocannon 20 in, a lot of speed, low battle value buy-in. Have that work in tandem with a lance, and you can really lock them in with danger close with the mechs, and then use the vehicles to get side or outflank. That's the primary tactic. We also have to be careful with danger close. One of the ways that you break through it is by getting into physical close attacks, assuming you don't have the speed to pull away. Where if I'm a heavier end machine, I might say to myself, yes, I'd like to sit there and fire all of my medium lasers and my arm-mounted weapons and other aspects. But if I can't break out, then I might as well charge in, if you're playing with the charge and push rules, or just get base to base. I have to be aware that if we are 3 hexes or so away, someone can easily move up based on initiative. Based on initiative, lock you in, 1 in 6 chance of the headshot. Now, if you're playing me in Battletech, danger close only lasts 1 turn, 1 game turn, because I'm going to bring the physical attacks. I got my Banshee. I'm going to leverage that. We're going to get up there and utilize it. So that's the first way. Can you break through and get to, can we say hand-to-hand combat, physical attack range in Battletech, and try to put down that mech with a 1 in 6 headshot? Of course, they can do the same to you. So we have to be careful about that, possibly, depending on how you line up. Initiative becomes very, very important in danger close. Now, another aspect, this is raw, as in rules as written. It's following the rules. It's not metagaming. It's not beardy. It's understanding the tactica of the game. If you're playing on a hex map, whether that's 1 hex map or multiple hex maps, the edges of the hex map are considered like outside of the game. If you withdraw off, like force withdrawal rules, you take some damage, you have to move to the clearest edge and take yourself off. While you're moving off to that edge, of course, you can fire and put some weapons down to cover your retreat. But generally speaking, you're either on or you're off, and once you're off, you're out of the game for various reasons. You might count as a kill or mission objectives. That, of course, really depends on the mission. But if we think about this positioning, from my perspective, you're over on my side. I've got that Warhammer on the hex map in the center-ish of the hex map, that center lane. Think about dividing it into 3 bands, left side, right side, and center. The advantage of being in the center means I can fire on stuff to the left, to the right, straight ahead, based on maneuvering, based on torso twisting. But likewise, I can receive firepower and shots back from center, left, and right. Or if it's on your side, your right and your left. If I move that Warhammer over to my left side and I hug the left band of the table, that means you can't lock me in from the left. That means I'm protecting my left side somewhat. It allows me to position and be in a better place to try and utilize that table edge. We can utilize that for danger close. If I'm moving forward and a mech gets damaged on the way in and I need to protect a side, then depending on my position, now terrain can also do it to some effect, protecting you with line of sight, or at least making your opponent pay depending on the vehicle or the mech to move through that terrain. I can't count on terrain effectively blocking off a side because you can move through it or above it, over it. But it is a consideration depending on the movement points and the values of that mech. So looking to say with that danger close, how to lock, how to move. But essentially, tactically, it breaks down to physical attacks, leveraging as much as it can, and utilizing a bodyguard type mech. Now, this pulls into 2 sub-pieces, and we're going to push this out there for review. This is why you want to have some way on the way in to weaken your opponent, to take advantage of the fact that Battletech, the way the damage transfers, allows for more opportunity to punch through based on the firepower that you put down. We see this with the support lance. And again, this depends on the battle value. I might have a lance moving forward, and I have a support lance of fill in the blanks. Blackjacks, Jägermechs, riflemen, longbows, archers, autocannons, missiles, even PPCs, shooting down to weaken you up. My primary lance, as they're moving in, I've got a mix of maybe PPCs for long range. I've got a mix of LRM pack. Maybe I'm running a grasshopper, that LRM 5 in the head. I'm shooting that down. The idea is I might want to close and be at my best at danger close range. Some lances operate at that. Other lances, fast-moving recon lances or fluid lances, never want to be at danger close. But I want to soften you up somewhere on the way in. And this leads to good damage versus bad damage, which we're just going to briefly mention because there's some new players to Battletech, new members to the channel. Good danger, good damage, bad damage is pushed up to my Battletech archive under the playlist, but I want to cover it. So you fire a lance. We want to fire focus, which means generally speaking, you want to try and fire on one target because there's a lot of modifiers in Battletech. I'm moving, you're moving. What's the range? What's the damage? I want to focus on one target until it's eliminated as best I can. I mean, that's kind of Wargaming 101. Now, sometimes you have to engage two targets. Sometimes maybe you're like, look, I got to engage this target because it's going to be right on top of me, but I also need to score a couple of motive hits on that PPC carrier because it's moving up, or that SRM carrier because it's moving up. So I need to divide my fire. I mean, once you get in the game, you have to make these challenging decisions. But when I fire on one target with multiple shots, either a lance or if it's a heavier assault mech that has many possibilities, that increases the opportunity for good damage. Good damage, and this is from my perspective. Good damage is, let's say I hit you with 6 things. Don't worry about the actual damage right now. You take 6 hits. I roll on the facing chart. Good damage is left arm, right torso, left leg, left arm, left arm. If I can score 2 or 3 hits in that same spot, it begins to punch through. This is why missile boats are so potent, where they can soak a target based on the hit location. There's a good chance that it's going to be like left torso, left leg, left torso, right arm. That's 2 hits to the left torso. I'm beginning to punch through. That increases that. Which if I can punch through, that's great. Before we get to danger close, if I can significantly damage my opponent when we close to danger close, they're going to be in trouble. Bad damage for me is I shoot at you and it just spreads out over the entire face of the mech. Obviously not a headshot. Bad damage is like I shoot at you with like 6 or 7 things and it's like left leg, left arm, left torso, center torso, right torso. Like it's just spread out. Yes, I'm doing damage. Never discount damage. Always do damage. But in Battletech, I want to try and focus on that one area as best I can through mech facing or saturation of attacks, or perhaps some of the later technology, targeting computers, called shots, aimed shots, depending on the rules that you're playing with Total Warfare, really trying to focus it. So danger close, my terminology, fill it in with your own terminology, look for that opportunity on the table and leverage it in your next Battletech game.